Hello, everybody, and welcome to Haiku Talk, episode 50 of Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet, and today we're going to take a look at a poem from the latest issue of Hedgerow. That would be number 139. This comes to us from Madhuri Pillai, hopefully I'm getting your name right, with the first line of Morning Mist. So, with that, you know what time it is. Time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be with you again here for episode 50. And we have a really nice piece by Madhuri Pillai with the first line of Morning Mist from the latest issue of Hedgerow. Beautiful journal, comes out of the UK. The poem goes like this. Morning Mist. I watch the mountains come and go. Morning mist. I watch the mountains come and go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is a wonderful poem. It is one of these reminders of what haiku can do for you and what gifts they are, both as a writer and as a reader. Because what has happened here in this piece, it's given both the poet and the reader permission to stop everything they're doing and consider this moment and to take it in and to savor it. And what a wonderful moment it is. Morning mist, I watch the mountains come and go. Wonderful. Before we break it down line by line, just want to talk a little bit about the moment that's passing here, because it's a poem about the passage of time. And it uses the three S's, simple, succinct, and suggestive language to put us into this scene. And as much as I want to talk about what's there, which is, a beautiful setting where the viewer of the moment is just taking in the passage of time, watching the morning mist, watching the mountains move in and out of that mist, or the mist move around the mountains. And one thing that is not present in the poem, and this is what, again, when we talk about suggestive language, this is what it does. It tells us just what's happening, and there is no mention of anybody else being present. There's no mention of anything else that's preoccupying the observer's mind. There's no pressures of grocery lists. There's no pressures of chewing on a big, nutty bit of philosophical insight. There is not any sort of politics. There's not any sort of anything happening, nothing good, nothing bad. There's no relationship with other people here. There is no, it's not a coupling. It's not a moment about anything but the individual sitting down or standing up, however you envision the scene being built in your mind, but being there, being present in the moment, taking this in. The only thing that happens is that the person, you, me, as the readers, we get to be there in this moment and allow time to pass with nothing else but being present and watching what happens, taking in what you're observing. That's it. That's it. That's it. And how wonderful is that? Talk about a respite from all that goes on in life. I don't know about you, but I've got to think that if you are on this channel, have watched this, or at least have even gotten this far, you're probably like me in that you need to recharge your batteries from time to time. And being by yourself out in a natural setting, or in my mind, I'm inside a cottage or something looking out, watching this setting. You need those times to kind of recharge and feel close to things. And, you know, this moment for me just makes me come alive, you know, because there's nothing better than to be able to have nothing else going on in life at this particular time, and just to be able to sit and observe time pass and to marvel and at the wonder and the beauty of, you know, mountains coming and going in and out of that morning mist. That's just a beautiful setting. It's very serene, very peaceful, and just very nourishing, you know? Some people might look at this poem and say, well, you know, in the current inner context of poetry, it doesn't do anything. It's not saying, it's not telling me anything. It's not informing me about anything. It's not taking a position on something. It's not telling a story about, you know, somebody's, you know, life experience. And there are plenty of forms of poetry for all of that kind of thing. But this is something haiku owns, you know? This is something it's meant for things like this, as well as everything else we've done on the channel so far. But moments like this, calling attention to them, making a case for them being important to be experienced, to be witnessed. And, you know, as the poet experienced and witnessed, they had permission as a poet to sit down and observe this moment, to capture this moment, and to want to relay this moment to anyone else, everyone else in the world. And for we as readers to put down everything else we have going on in our lives, step into this moment, put everything else aside, and engage with it and enjoy it and live it for the time that we experience this. You know, that's beautiful. That's magical. And again, that's what haiku does. You know, all of that, all of these things, you know, making you aware of the things that most people would walk right by or pass over. In this person's life, like in your life and my life, we get up, I'm assuming it's obviously in the morning. Most people, we have too many things going on to actually stop and consider looking at the mountains long enough to not only notice that it's misty outside, but notice that the mountains are moving in and out of the mist, or the mist is moving around the mountains in such a way that they come and go. That means this requires your attention. It requires that you put everything else aside, look out that window long enough to just notice the beauty of what's happening around you, the wonder of what's around you. And that to me, I mean, it's just brilliant and beautiful and enriching and life affirming, because these are the moments that, you know, I live for, I look for. As a poet, I relish the opportunity that haiku gives me to sit down and experience things like this. It's okay to build your day around moments where you can look for things like this, where you allow yourself to experience things like this. I have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of poems about moments like this. You know, as I'm sure if you've been writing yourself, you'll have that nice cache of poems as well. And, you know, as you read more and more of these things, we experience these things, they enrich and touch our lives. And I just came across this one, and it was just, I had to put the book down, and I walked over and looked out my own window here in my place and just, you know, took a moment and just watched life happen, watched the morning happen. Because all of these things, this morning mist, those mountains, that that happens regardless of whether or not you're watching or not. It doesn't care if you are aware of it or not. It's just beauty that's happening. It's up to us as humans to stop and pay attention and not let it be wasted. And so poet Richard Newman has a wonderful book. He's not a haiku poet, but with the title of All the Wasted Beauty in the World. And as haiku poets and lovers of this poetry, that's not wasted on us. We relish it. We look for it. We are in awe of it. We're inspired by it. We're enriched by it. And this poem definitely gave me miles. Miles to go in my day today. And so let's take a look at how it works. It does follow the fragment and phrase format, with the fragment being line 1 of Morning Mist, and the phrase being, I watch the mountains come and go. And that first line of Morning Mist, dot. Man, I mean, it puts you in a place, doesn't it? It's visual. It engages your senses. It doesn't tell you what's in the mist, but it makes you appreciate, look, and think about morning mist, what that experience is. It's not just a fact on a weather report. It's not just a statement that you're reading that it happened one day. No, this morning mist. It's a beautiful thing to see and experience. And if you're out walking amongst it, the way it feels on your face, the way it wets your hair, the way it, catches on your clothes, the way sometimes you can see your breath in it, These are all things I think about when I just hit that first line. I'm hit with all of these types of images, all the ways that I encounter morning mist. And that happens before I go to line 2. And line 2 is, I watch the mountains. I watch the mountains. Wow. So now I have a location of where the morning mist is happening. And for me, I go right back to a place that I experienced before. I haven't experienced this type of scene often, but that's what it does. It triggers memories of your own experience. Haiku triggers memories, triggers your imagination, triggers things from your own experience, so that when you step inside the moment, you make it your own. And for me, I go to this place up in Western Canada, staying with some friends for over the Christmas holidays. I woke up a little bit early, went down, made a little cup of coffee, sat and looked out their window and could watch, in this case, was watching the fog kind of wrap around the mountain. And I have a haiku about that somewhere. And so I immediately wow, I'm back in this moment, and it's winter, and it's Canada, and it's this, all of this, it's Christmas time, and all of these things get, flood my memories as I'm reading this. So I first encounter that morning mist, and then line 2, mountains, I'm experiencing something else. And then I get to line 3, which is come and go. Come and go. And that obviously attaches to line 2 for the phrase, I watch the mountains come and go. And that immediately then I'm now I know the moment. Now it's complete. Aha, I have my aha moment. And I know that not only is it misting outside, not only am I watching the mountains, but I am experiencing this moment long enough to watch the mountains come and go. To watch the mountains come and go. That means I have taken time out of my day. I've been put in a moment where that's the only thing I have to do. That's the only thing I have to experience right there. And on my busy day today, work day, boy, when I was reading through this, that was great to refresh. Like I said, I looked out my own window, thought about other times that I've experienced something like this. Thought about all of the other haiku that I've written that touch on this, or that I've read that touch on this, and just again astounded by the fact that this is a form of poetry that puts value in moments like this, in living moments like this, not only by giving me this to read, but by allowing me to seek for them as I write, and also allowing me to assign value to them, to say, this is important in life. This is something worth seeking out. This is something worth looking at, worth experiencing. And it's a beautiful thing. And that wraps up episode 50. Thank you all for joining in. If you've been watching these from this, coming along with this journey for me, it's been a wonderful first 50 episodes. I know the channel has grown a lot over that time. I've grown a lot. It's been a fun journey. I'm looking forward to the next 50. So if you are here and you like this, please think about liking the episode and also thinking about subscribing to the channel. It does help us rise and move around in the algorithms of YouTube. Helps us show up in Google search results and all of that good stuff. And think about ringing the bell to get notified once new episodes drop. And that happens about once a week. So it's not overbearing that you'll get a notification that says, hey, a new episode has dropped. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time. Until next time, cheers, Prost, however you do this thing.